Well, welcome to Three Count Commentaries. We're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. Wish we didn't have to, but we do. It's another one of those weeks, man, where I'm sitting here wondering why Raw exists and why do I take time to watch it. But then it comes time to do a review, and I'm like, okie dokie. This is why Raw exists. It exists for me to have something to talk to people about. So there was no news and notes really to discuss until the video dropped of some turd burglar deciding he was going to try to interrogate Mercedes Rado, aka Sasha Banks, during New York City Comic Con. So what happened? Well, I guess it was some kind of wrestling journalist or something. He was secretly recording her when he walked up to her and said, "I know you left WWE over creative issues." And she says, "Oh, is that what you know?" And he was like, "Well, that's what I read." And then she said something to the effect of, "Oh, so you weren't there." And then he said, "Well, if that wasn't it, then why did you leave?" And she kind of got annoyed and said that why would I tell you? Why would I just tell you? It kind of to the effect of when she's ready to talk about it, she'll talk about it. And I said to myself, like, man, wrestling fans, you guys are the worst. I feel almost exactly like the Ric Flair meme. Jesus Christ. I feel like Fandango. I hate wrestling fans, man. Like, I know a lot of people are trying to give the guy credit for at least asking the question. But who knows how long she's been sitting there or how many days she was sitting there and how many times she was asked about this. You got to take that into account when you walk up. But I was mostly pissed off by the idea that he was trying to secretly record her. Basically, he was trying to secretly record it, trying to get her to slip up or say something so that he could become somewhat famous on the internet for breaking the story. And this is not some, what's the James O'Keefe thing where you're trying to, it's like, he walked up to her, made an allegation, and then dared her to correct him. Like, that's not how you do things. If you were doing an interview with her, you still wouldn't do it that way. And this is a meet and greet, bro. Like, I don't know what you do in a meet and greet. I honestly don't know. I've never actually been a part of a meet and greet. So I'm trying to sit here and figure out, like, I guess you stand in line and you shake hands and you take your picture or whatever. You say, "Hey, I'm your biggest fan." You don't walk up to them and start interrogating them or making accusations at them. And as much as I say that she's a diva and I don't really like her attitude all the time, I think she handled this fan with aplomb. This guy sucks. He was trying to get a reaction out of her. He was trying to get something out of her and was secretly recording her the entire time. If it wasn't him, it was probably somebody who was with him. Because, lo and behold, the camera is right on her when this guy walks up and asks this question. Now, the question in and of itself is not that big a deal. The issue here is, I'm sure he ain't the first one. He ain't. That's the crazy thing. Like, everybody thinks they're a genius. Like, I got it figured out. You and who knows how many other people have asked this question, but I just thought that was interesting. And that's the one note that we got, is that she ain't giving up nothing, at least not yet. It's been it's been over a year. It's been nearly 2, right, since she was in WWE. She still hasn't discussed why she left. I'm starting to think that she's probably not going to discuss it. And maybe she just needed to get away for a little bit. Who knows? But it don't matter anyway. But please don't accost wrestlers in the airport or at meet and greets or whatever, asking 100 questions. Please stop doing that. It's uncouth. All right, let's get through this show. Oh my word, what a terrible show it is. Kevin Patrick is the lead commentator because Michael Cole took time off. Oh, he was just bragging the other day. Oh, he took 2 days off. Now it's 3 in like 22 years or something like that. But now it's 3, and we got to deal with this jerk off Kevin Patrick for 3 hours. You know what? Soon as Triple H took over, he put this dork on commentary. And he is super low energy. I mean, he's really low energy. I can't stand this guy. Can't stand him. Sami Zayn comes out, talks about his mixed emotions. That he's sad, but he's also happy. He's sad that he lost Kevin Owens, but happy to see things going well for Jey Uso. He's glad to be able to show what he can do by himself, but he's also upset to see that Jey has everything that he should have. So it seems kind of ridiculous. And to see all of their hard work to main event WrestleMania for the tag team championships and for the contenders to be Judgment Day, that seems wrong to him. Judgment Day comes out there. We're going to cut this short. We're not going to go into this. Damian Priest, oh my God, what a terrible promo. Vaya con Dios, el Judgment Day. Que pasa de hombre, del Judgment Day. I'm like, what? All right. But then he called them the Undisputed Tag Team Idiots. I was like, boo. I throw a pillow at the TV. Tell me to take their microphone from him. So Rhea Ripley took the microphone, says that they're going to get rid of Sami Zayn permanently. They're going to attack him. So they do what they do every single goddamn week. They encircle the ring like they're going to do something. Jey Uso comes out there with a chair, and they ward off the Judgment Day. Yay, they warded off the Judgment Day. See how everybody's going to get what they want. Afterwards, Jey and Sami Zayn have a conversation. They wonder if they're actually good. Are you good? Because I'm good. Sami Zayn wants to be good and says that it shouldn't be Jey having his back. It should be Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens is gone because of Jey. He said he has neither a friend or a championship. He's got nothing. And it's Jey's fault. But he's happy for Jey. He's torn asunder here. Then Jey say, oh, I didn't know you feel like that, Oos. You still got me. And I was like, oh. And he stormed off and he was all upset. And Sami Zayn followed him. Oh, no, Oos, I thank you very much. I'm so happy for you. I didn't mean what I said. I'm like, what are we doing here? I know they're trying to reinforce their friendship, but please, this is ridiculous. So Rhea Ripley disappears for who knows how long. When she pops back up, Damian Priest is not happy. He says that he wanted to see JD McDonough get his shit kicked in, but he also wanted to see Drew McIntyre get beat up. He got the former, not the latter. Then he said somebody's got to do something about Drew McIntyre. But Rhea Ripley, when she showed back up, he was like, oh, where you been? Vaya con Dios. Where have you been? Que pasa? And Rhea Ripley said she was out handling business, making phone calls. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Then she says that she's going to go handle her division. And then also that they're going to do some things with the tag team titles. All right. Genuinely, okay, I'm kind of interested. What's going to happen here? Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler. This match seemed like it was going on forever. At the top of the match, Rhea Ripley says that when she was gone, the division all tried to be badasses. You had all these people thinking they were the toughest and the baddest woman in WWE. But mommy's always on top. And while we're talking about the baddest woman, I really didn't mention before that Ronda Rousey apparently is officially retired. I think she hasn't come on record, but I think she said something like on Instagram about being retired. That's a big deal if she is. It's not going to really bother us here in WWEville. Nobody likes Ronda Rousey, not really. But there would not be a women's revolution without Ronda Rousey. How you feel about that, argue amongst yourselves. In any event, I didn't care about Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler because I don't know what I'm supposed to feel for Shayna Baszler. Is she a babyface? Is she a heel? I don't know. So she's just in this situation. Rhea Ripley acting like she got, stabbed in the gut when she was getting kicked and stuff like that. I don't know. She was overselling it. The only interesting spot in this match that I can remember is Shayna Baszler countering the Riptide into an armbar, which was actually kind of cool. Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, and Zoe Stark all had run-ins Zoe kicked Rhea Ripley in the head, which led to disqualification. They continued to brawl, and Zoe Stark was the last girl standing. And that was to end the segment. Oh, brother. This was a disaster. Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler, they've had good matches before. This was not one of them. I don't know whose fault that is, but I'm going to blame Shayna Baszler. How about that? Does that seem fair? Is it fair to blame Shayna Baszler for this? Because if it ain't, I'm still going to do so. Adam Pearce, he's accosted by Rhea Ripley, who's yelling about he needs to get the division in order or she will, which seems backwards because she said she was going to do it. And then she says, oh no, things get a little out of hand. Maybe Adam Pearce ought to do it, or I'm really going to threaten to do it. Adam Pearce got in her face and said, well, you had your chance. So I'm going to give you another chance and set up a fatal 5-way match in which Rhea Ripley, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez will all have to wrestle each other in Crown Jewel. And, oof, don't love it, don't hate it. Rhea versus any of these people individually is, well, she's already wrestled Raquel 2 or 3 times. I don't know what she can get out of Nia Jax. I'm not entirely sure how that would work out. It would just be, can Rhea Ripley do the Riptide on Nia Jax? Yes, and then that would be it. Zoe Stark would be a good match, but Zoe Stark has all of the charisma of a bed sheet. You know, it's just not going to work out. Similarly for Shayna Baszler. So they're going to have a bad girl battle royal. All right, fine. I don't know what else. What more can you do? Nia Jax actually cut a promo before by saying that everyone gave her their best shot, but she ain't gave nobody her best shot yet. And she's still standing up and she's still pretty. And I always said, well, she's doing one of those 2 things. All right. She's half right. But being 50% right is a failing grade, you know, so not so good, you know, not so good. This leads us to the main event. Cause I covered all the Rhea Ripley stuff. We'll talk about the women's division in the wrap up portion. Because we still continue with the Judgment Day stuff. There's so much Judgment Day. Oh my God. Cody and Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. I can't say like Cody is an Uso versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Now going into this match, I said to myself, when was the last time Finn Balor won a match on TV? And I struggled to sit back and think about it because I remember him beating Carmelo Hayes. And I was like, how long ago was that? That was at least a month ago. I don't know when the last time Finn Balor won a match on TV. And then heavens to Betsy, Finn Balor won this match. Well, he won this match because Jimmy Uso came from the ether and super kicked Jey, leading to the coup de grace and the pinfall. So it is clear now that Rhea Ripley, when she made her phone call, she called the Bloodline. Because again, remember, there is an alliance between the 2 groups. And this was a chance to take out a mutual enemy. So they embarrassed Jey, especially since this was something Roman talked about on SmackDown. Every day that Jey Uso has a tag team championship is a slap in the face to Roman Reigns. So Jimmy Uso comes out of nowhere, screws Jey out of the titles, and there that is. Now we got some more heat between Jimmy and Jey. Jey has lost the titles. Judgment Day has the titles back. I feel like, you know what? Let's be honest. When I saw Cody and Jey beating a bunch of tag teams, you know, they beat Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and they defended them again on SmackDown. I was like, they're not going to be champions very long. They literally just did this with somebody else who won a title. And I forget how long ago it was, but in AEW, they did it with Phoenix, right? They had Phoenix defend the belt a bunch of times and then just lose it. He was champion for like 3 weeks. If that, 2 weeks probably. But he had a 2 or 3 title defenses in that time. Like when they're trying to spam title defenses, you're not going to be champion that long because they're burning through contenders way too fast. So it was pretty clear to me that Cody and Jey were probably going to lose pretty soon. I didn't know they were going to lose until the Judgment Day, but I pretty much figured they were going to lose. I don't know where you go from here with Judgment Day being the champions again, because they're still feuding with the same people they was already feuding with. The only option I guess you got is for Jimmy and Solo to want the tag team titles, which is going to break up the alliance between the Bloodline and the Judgment Day. Maybe Rhea promised the Bloodline a tag team title match if they helped. Wouldn't that be an interesting piece of business there? I guess. But it's pretty clear that she called the Judgment. That she called the Bloodline. I mean, it just is what it is. Sami Zayn had come out to help, and he was ineffective because, Dominic Mysterio's out there and Damian Priest is out there and everything. So, at least we got that done. We know who the tag team champions are. Praise God. It's these guys. But that wasn't all that Sami Zayn did. Sami Zayn also got into a bit of a kerfuffle with Drew McIntyre. Now, Drew McIntyre, got to go through this whole thing. He was having himself a debate or an argument with Seth, Dross, and Rollins. All right? Because he's wearing women's clothes again. All right? I don't know why Seth Rollins insists on being a drag queen. And you know what? This was actually brought to my attention, because I stopped paying Seth Rollins attention a long time ago, if we're being honest. But a lot of people have started to notice that this whole storyline about his broken back, and yet he still comes out dancing every week. I mean, it really hit home this week, because on commentary, they're like, his body's broken, but he's still singing. I'm like, wait a minute. His body's broken, but he's still dancing, and he's wearing women's clothes? Like, what's up with this Rocky Horror Picture Show shit? Why is this guy dressed like this? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. He needs to stay out of Becky's closet. But why isn't he selling the back injury? No selling of the back injury whatsoever. Had a full last man standing match, no selling of the back. He got attacked last week by Damian Priest, not selling the back injury. He's just not selling. What's up with that? Yeah, in any event, somebody reminded me of that, and I was like, you know what, you got a good point. That's a good damn point. So this promo segment, I'm going to try to truncate this thing, because this thing is taking forever. Seth Rollins accused Drew McIntyre of enlisting the Judgment Day to help him, because he didn't do anything when the Judgment Day attacked Seth Rollins, which sounds ridiculous, because why would he hire the Judgment Day or join the Judgment Day just for this? And Damian Priest also wants to be the world champion. This is stupid idea. Then he says that he's got proof, and it's a picture of Drew McIntyre talking to Rhea Ripley. Drew McIntyre told him to mind his business, and unlike that thirsty-ass Jey Uso, Rhea Ripley came to him. And what they talked about was nobody's business. So Seth Rollins said, look, man, you had some big opportunities. You had some big failures. Maybe you feel like you need a little bit of help. Drew McIntyre said he didn't need any help. And all of his big opportunities that ended up in big losses was due to the cheating, the low blows, the interferences, the bloodline. And Seth Rollins said, look, man, you got to get over this bloodline thing. And I said, no, somebody's got to explain why that top rope collapsed on Finn Balor at Extreme Rules that year. Somebody's got to explain that shit to me. Because either John Cena did it or Jesus did it. Who did that? Why did the top rope collapse? So Drew McIntyre is refusing to get over the bloodline. I'm refusing to get over it too. I'm on Team Drew. I ain't getting over nothing. Make me. So Drew McIntyre says, look, nobody was there in the pandemic. I stepped up. I was the man. And then I caught lightning in the bottle again at Clash at the Castle. I got screwed by the bloodline. I got lightning in the bottle the third time when I kick your ass and take the world title. Seth Rollins says he took him 4 years to climb back to the top. And all he's hearing from Drew McIntyre is excuses. And excuses won't get him where he wants to go. And once he loses to Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel, he's not going to have anyone to blame but himself. And you know what? There's parts of this promo that is actually pretty good. If we took out all of this, you're a secret member of Judgment Day. Like, come on. If you get that stuff out of here and leave it to Seth Rollins thinking that Drew McIntyre needs to get over losing to the Bloodline and get over this thing and stop being bitter and get better, that could be really good. Because it could be one of the things where Rollins can say, look, man, a bunch of people have gotten screwed over. Nobody's carrying a chip on their shoulder about this whole thing except you. You know? And interestingly enough, this was a conversation that was doubled down on later when Drew McIntyre spoke to Sami Zayn. So Drew McIntyre goes up to Sami Zayn and says, hey, look, I respect you. You know, you did a really great thing. You're standing on your own 2 feet. That's what I would have said if you hadn't forgiven Jay. You just instantly forgave Jay. So Sami Zayn says, look, man, you got to put this thing behind you. I can relate to being screwed over by the Bloodline, but, you know, it's in the past. Jay's trying to change. We're trying to get over this thing. So Drew McIntyre actually hits him a little bit below the belt by saying, look, you don't understand because you've never been world champion. You don't know what it's like to get to the top of the mountain. And Sami Zayn was like, whoa. Because earlier in the night, Sami Zayn says that it's his opportunity to show that he's a world champion level wrestler. So now he sees this as an opportunity to prove himself. So he says that. He's going to prove what level he's at next week when he challenged Drew McIntyre to a match. And Drew McIntyre says, look, I don't run from challenges. So if that's what you want to do, it's on you, brother. So I like this exchange more than the Seth Rollins exchange because it's none of that bullshit about you secretly a member of Judgment Day. It's like, come on, nobody believes that. Nobody believes that this guy's some kind of secret Judgment Day member. That's ridiculous. You know, it's pretty dumb. But they're still telling this really slow burn to heel story for Drew McIntyre, and he needs to win the belt, if we're being honest. He needs to win the belt on the first try. I'm saying he needs to go. I mean, it would be an interesting story if he lost the first time and then won the second. But you might as well just put it on him the first time, you know? But Seth Rollins as champion is not doing it for me. It ain't working. It's not just the no-selling. It's all the singing. It's the cross-dressing. To me, it feels like he's the Intercontinental Champion. You know? And the real Intercontinental Champion feels like a main event guy. So, Seth Rollins, I don't know. Maybe I'm just bored with him. He's actually was one of my favorite guys on the roster in terms of work rate and character. I thought he was doing well when he was the Monday Night Messiah. But since he started doing this, I've kind of felt like it's been a little bit repetitive. And some of it has been good. Like the stuff with Riddle was okay. It was good. Some of the stuff with Finn Balor was good. Some of the stuff with Shinsuke Nakamura was good. But only some of it. You know? I'm not saying he's having bad matches or bad feuds. I'm just saying it's not clicking on the next level. It doesn't feel like a world title. It doesn't feel like main event guys doing main event guy stuff. You know? And I don't know why that is. I don't know why it's not clicking. And that's an important thing when you got this quote-unquote secondary world title. Is this still has to feel like it has some weight behind it. Like when there was a world heavyweight championship back in the aughts, it felt like there was some real weight behind it. You know, Triple H being the champion, even though I absolutely hated it, it still felt like there was some weight behind that title. Like there was some emphasis on it. For some reason, and I think mainly because the Judgment Day are the main stars of this show, it doesn't feel like it was Seth Rollins. You know, he doesn't feel like he's the top star of the show. He's the world champion, yeah, but the show is mostly about Gunther. The show is mostly about Judgment Day. The show is mostly about Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. He's just a guy on the show. That's how it feels to me. And I can't tell other people what to think. But when I look at this show, and I'm looking at it, I'm saying that the World Championship is not the center of the universe. You know, other personalities are the center of the universe on Monday Night Raw. You know? And he feels a lot like Becky Lynch running around with that NXT title. Like random people just challenge him to matches and he's like, ha 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 ha, sure. I'm like, oh my God. You know? Drew McIntyre didn't have to win a match to become number one contender. He didn't have to, you know, prove himself at all. He just comes out there, challenges Seth Rollins and gets a yes, and then that's it. You know, it just feels like a mid-card belt. You got guys fighting for the right to battle Gunther. Guys just walk up to Seth Rollins and and that's it. It's like, whoa. It was that simple to be a top contender for the world title, is it? Whatever. Who cares? All right. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ricochet. Shinsuke Nakamura cut a promo in Japanese in which he says Ricochet is a fly or a mosquito and he's going to crush him on the dirty floor or something to that effect. I was like, damn, that's kind of graphic, bruh. So they had the Falls Count Anywhere match, and you know what? I was very surprised at how good this was. Ricochet, you know, when he turns everything into a playground, that's when he's at his best. You know, the moonsault off the balcony not the moonsault. It wasn't a moonsault. It was a shooting star press, and it was off some kind of balcony or whatever. And his boot was loose. Like, it looked like he was probably going to hurt himself. And he was holding the fan's hand to make sure he stayed up there. It was pretty wild. So they also did a nice little spot with the Kinshasa over the barricade. I like that spot. You know, like, these guys really did some good stuff. And I didn't hate this. For the first match on the show, I was still pumped up about the show being on. So I was like, this is good. Shinsuke Nakamura kicked Ricochet off the top rope. He fell through a table. As he recovered, he got another Kinshasa and pinned right there on the floor. You got to think Samantha Irvin is tired of announcing other people as the winner of the match that her boyfriend is in. Why is that not a storyline yet? Like, that seemed like a very obvious storyline. For somebody to walk up to Samantha and like, ain't you just tired of this? That you announcing that other people win matches that Ricochet? Aren't you embarrassed? Like, this guy's a fucking loser. Aren't you embarrassed? You should be. You know, like, somebody's got to say something now. But Ricochet did well for himself here. It was a good match. So I can't argue with it. It was a good match. Next, Chelsea Green is mocking Tegan Nox, who is there with all the other Misfit toys. I think that Nikki Cross was actually there too. She was hiding up there in the upper left-hand corner, upper right-hand corner rather. What is she doing here? I forgot she still worked in this company. There were some other people there, but I don't remember. I just was like, wow, Nikki Cross is there. They got into it with Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green comes over. She's mocking Tegan Nox for losing. And then says that isn't she going to go and get manipulated by Natalya or something like that. Tegan Nox threatened to smack Chelsea Green. And Chelsea backed off and decided she was going to take her leave. So her and Piper Niven, they decided to leave because Piper has a match with Natalya. And I wanted to throw my TV in the air and then guile spin kick it into the ocean or something. Piper Niven versus Natalya. And a match that was entirely too long, that common sense would dictate that Piper Niven should have won this match in record time. Here's the interesting thing, though. Pretty funny. And it was brought to my attention because I don't pay attention to anything Natalya. Is that Natalya was giving away, I think, some glasses or something in the crowd. And there's like I think a DD fan, maybe it was a kid, who was like hugging her as she was there. Like, she was interacting with some other fan. And this fan reached up and grabbed Natalya by the boob. Like, just grabbed like one boobie. Just handful of boob. Like, boop, boop. And that was it. As she was pulling away. I don't think she even noticed it. And I'm pretty sure it was, maybe it was completely innocent because the fan just wanted a hug and she wasn't paying attention. Like, it wasn't like some kind of gross, but it was kind of like she was pulling away and the fan's hand just happened to be there and grabbed her boob. But, lucky fan, good fan. Can't say nothing bad about Natalya when it comes to her boobs. Everything else, throw it in the trash. Boobs, thumbs up. This match is entirely too long. I hated it. Hated it with every fiber of my being. Piper Niven should have won this match in 90 seconds flat in order to get her over, because that's what's needed here. Instead, this match went on forever. Chelsea Green distracted Natalya, which led to a basement crossbody, which we got to do something better for Piper in terms of her finish. Whatever. Afterwards, Tegan Nox made the save. And so Tegan Nox and Natalya really are a tag team. Shoot me now. Please. I don't mean like buckshot or nothing like that. Shoot me like a tranquilizer to put me to sleep. You know, something harmless. You know, like don't shoot me like for real. You know, I don't want that. Gunther got a vignette. Very cool. Not as cool as Kaiser's vignette, but still pretty good. For a guy like him, there are no ends, only means. I'm like, oh brother, that's kind of dramatic. That's very dramatic. There's a lot of fire too. Fire. All right. We also got a vignette for Bronson Reed, who says fear got him where he is, and it's needed to keep things in order, and a reminder of certain ramifications. This takes us to the Intercontinental Championship match. Bronson Reed versus Gunther. And you know what? Match wasn't terrible, but it was actually one of the weaker outings for Gunther. This match was not great. It was just kind of good. You know? Bronson Reed, difficult to move around, you see. They relied very heavily on Gunther's chops here. This is Gunther wrestling a bigger guy. And by bigger, I mean wider, not taller. So it was interesting in that regard of what Gunther was going to be able to do to him, you know, in terms of can he move him around. But Bronson Reed, I don't think he was having a good night. The basement drop kick spot is really what kind of gave it away to me. If you go watch that shotgun, well, it wasn't a basement drop, it was a shotgun drop kick, where, you know, Gunther usually nails that shotgun drop kick right in the chest and the guy sells it, you know, falls into the corner. Bronson Reed barely got touched and kind of stepped back into the corner. I was like, oh my God, this is disturbing. This sucks. Throughout the match rather, Gunther tried to pick up Bronson Reed several times. Ended up finally hitting the powerbomb and getting the pin. Gunther worked very hard to get this match over. But he did it. He got it over. It worked. So Gunther defeated Bronson Reed to continue being the Intercontinental Champion. I wish they had not done heel versus heel, because that's probably what took so long for this damn thing to get over. Because it's like, people are being taught to hate Gunther, but also being taught to hate Bronson Reed. So in between the two, they got to pick a baby face, and I guess they chose Gunther in that regard because he's the one guy you can respect. So that's fine. Gunther is still an Intercontinental Champion. Everybody knew that was going to happen. Earlier in the night, Ludwig Kaiser defeated Johnny Gargano with a leg sweep DDT. I hate that move. It's so complicated. I don't know what that sweep leg DDT thing is. Please come up with something else. But Ludwig Kaiser and Johnny Gargano, they had a match. I expected Gargano to win this match, so I'm glad that he lost. Tommaso Ciampa is not medically cleared, so therefore he was not on here. Kaiser got into it with Giovanni Vinci during the match. Vinci also helped Kaiser win after one final beat. He kind of poked Gargano in the eye, distracted him, led to that sweep DDT or whatever, and Ludwig Kaiser won. Later in the show, Gunther congratulated Kaiser on his victory, but he says that Kaiser did his job, but unfortunately Vinci did not. And then Vinci was like, but he won, and I helped. And then Gunther says, well, Johnny Gargano's still up walking around. I expected him to be on a stretcher. So he says next week, Vinci is going to have the match with Johnny Gargano, and he wants that man on a stretcher. And I was like, okay, that's tough. That's very tough. That's he's giving these guys missions, handle my side missions. This is okay. I didn't hate it. Indy Hartwell's backstage. She's angling for a title match with Becky Lynch. She said she never lost her NXT championship. And while that's factually correct, Indy Hartwell never lost the NXT Women's title. But she did lose when she came back and tried to be the number one contender in a match. She lost. But Becky Lynch says, "Oh, I want to fight you anyway," so she agrees to have a match with Indy Hartwell. Rhea Ripley then confronted Becky Lynch, said nothing, but just stood in Becky Lynch's way for a little bit because she does. Because she do. And she did her own thing. Becky Lynch went to Adam Pearce to get the match made official, which, he did it. He said he got to run it by Shawn Michaels first, but of course Shawn's going to agree with it. So, Indy Hartwell versus Becky Lynch next week. When Becky Lynch turns around, there's Xia Li. And Xia Li's frustrated about when she's going to get her shot. And Becky promised that she's going to get one. To which Xia Li said, "Yeah, on my time." I'm like, how are you going to be not on television, not doing anything, and then making requests and demands? This is the stuff that I'm talking about, man. Why isn't she on like winning job matches or something? Instead of some of these matches being 30 minutes, put Xia Li in there and let her kick somebody's head off. I think 4 weeks of that, and people will be like, "Holy shit!" Because I've seen Xia Li down there knock people completely unconscious with those kicks. Like she kicked, was it Mercedes Martinez? She put her in the shadow realm with a kick. Like if you have that kind of stuff going on Monday Night Raw, Xia Li will get over before she even wrestles Becky Lynch. And that's the kind of shit that you need in that division. You need a killer. And if Xia Li is going to be the one, and she should be out there kicking people in the forehead and then knocking them unconscious. She could be like the Asuka of the Raw version of this division. Why are they not using her the same way? I'm not talking about, face painting, but a serious martial arts style character, that could work. I mean, nobody else is over in this fucking division, so it's not like we're worried about, she's not over. She can't talk. She's fucking ESL, just like so many other people on this fucking roster. And so many goddamn accents on this show now. Anyway, once Xia Li leaves, Becky Lynch runs into Jade Cargill. They size each other up a little bit with Jade doing a lot of smiling and posturing. I'm not so sure if she's a babyface or a heel, but she comes across very babyface here. And Becky Lynch tells her to get in line. And Jade is kind of offended, as she should be, because who the hell is Becky Lynch to tell her anything? But here we go. Jade Cargill went from being face-to-face with Charlotte Flair to being face-to-face with Becky Lynch. And I think the thing with her and Charlotte was far more impactful. That one is going to live in infamy. I think a lot of people are going to be really gassed off the Jade Charlotte stare down. I don't think the Becky Lynch was going to have the same punch, but it was interesting. I know that Becky Lynch is very excited to be able to wrestle her, and probably going to end up being one of her mentors. I could see that coming. You could just tell when you're new in the business and somebody who's been around for a while, they're licking their goddamn chops. You can just tell Becky Lynch can't wait to get her goddamn hands and fingers all over this Jade Cargill thing. Probably her and Charlotte, really, but considering they don't get along, who knows what's going to happen. It's probably going to be Becky Lynch trying to help Jade and Charlotte trying to fuck over Jade. So she better watch out. But it was a very interesting stare down. Though these Jade Cargill interactions, these cameos, she's not meant to be confrontational. She doesn't even have a confrontational energy when she approaches these people. It seems like she's going to meet the general managers and they just happen to be there. So, that's what I think I liked about the Charlotte thing is it felt like two ships passing in the night. Meanwhile, when it comes to Becky Lynch, she's being very aggressive, which is, kind of her character is she kind of got a chip on her shoulder. Like, who the hell are you? You want to fight me too? And Jade's just kind of like, what? Like, hadn't thought about it, but, so at least these people are working their characters well. So that's good. What else we got to talk about here on this goddamn show? The Miz was on here, but he wasn't on here long and didn't really have anything to say. He's more of a catalyst for Nia Jax bullying her way into her promo. There was a short Alpha Academy segment where now they're the Body Donnas because they're doing workout stuff now. So Maxine Dupree is leading them and doing lunges or whatever kind of workouts that they're doing. So Chad Gable wants all the gold. He said he's back in the hunt to be the Intercontinental Champion. And they're also going to go after the tag team titles. Upon saying this, the New Day magically appear like a genie in a lamp. They get into a gyrating competition with Otis. And I just like, you know what? I don't want to see the New Day. I'm done with New Day. New Day is over. What you wearing to your New Day is over party. Because I'm wearing pajamas and a lucha mask. We need to... They gotta go, dog. Kofi Kingston's doing great stuff over in Africa. Can he go over there and stay? Or can he put Xavier Woods in a box, ship his ass to Ghana, and leave him there? I'm perfectly fine with Kofi being a singles act as long as he get rid of that New Day shit. But I'm tired of New Day. I cannot be... I'm telling you, top 5 most stale acts in wrestling, New Day is on the list. Top 5 most stale. I mean, Jesus Christ, Hulk Hogan been doing his gimmick for 40 years and it's still not as stale as the New Day. Stone Cold Steve Austin come out and drink a beer every goddamn week for 25 years and still won't be as stale as the New Day. The top 2 most stale acts in the entire business are the New Day and the Elite. And it seems like people are not noticing how stale all these people are. They've been doing the same shit for a decade or more. Enough's enough. It's time for a change. It's time for something new. New Day sucks. At least turn them heel or something. God, you got to do something. They suck so bad. Anyway, Alpha Academy wants to have a match with them next week to prove that they should be the tag team champions. I don't care. What else? Oh, okay. So we're going to talk about this to close up. Then we're going to get into our closing moments. Logan Paul was in this freak show fight with this guy named Dylan Dennis, who apparently has made his life living hell for weeks, posting pictures about his girlfriend and wife being a whore. Now, I don't know if the girl's a whore or not, but it was entertaining watching Dylan Dennis make fun of her. I mean, I'm just kind of misogynist that way. I thought it was humorous. But I said, okay, they're going to fight. This is going to be stupid. It's freak show, YouTube boxing. It's not going to be a big deal. The fight turned into more of a freak show than I thought when this guy grabbed a headlock, well, a front face lock. He tried to grab a guillotine at the end of the fight on Logan Paul. To Logan Paul's credit, he got out of it. And it's going to be hard to put a guy in a guillotine when you're wearing gloves. So not only is he an absolute shitheel that can't fucking fight, he's also an idiot because he tried to put a guillotine on a guy wearing gloves. Now, apparently this Dylan Dennis guy is like a retired MMA fighter or something like that. And I don't know what's up with MMA fighters where they ain't got no hands. Well, I guess if you BJ Penn and you're in the street and you beating up some kind of drunkard or something like that, you got hands. But if you fight like a trained, even a moderately trained boxer, all of a sudden you got no fucking hands at all. How embarrassing. So many of these guys are stepping on this stage and the Paul brothers are kicking their shit in, and they should be embarrassed. As I know boxing is a very, very highly specialized form of fighting. And these MMA fighters, they don't learn just boxing. Boxing is just something that leads to whatever other thing. It's just a part of the package for them. It's not a special. It's, something that they don't do. Well, why not challenge him to an MMA fight? Something that you can quite possibly win. There's so many of these guys who are chasing the money and joining the boxing leagues and then getting their beat up and embarrassed in front of everybody. This is kind of the one negative thing about what Chael Sonnen did. Chael Sonnen has a really great, I don't know if you want to call it a promo, but he said that Dana White successfully did the one thing Vince McMahon and no other fight promoter could do, and that's making losing okay. And that, because Dana White doesn't always punish people for losing. So it's okay for you to lose in UFC and therefore in some ways in MMA. But when you look at it from that perspective that guys have learned sportsmanship and they're not afraid to lose in the mixed martial arts. So now you got these guys like, Francis Ngannou and Chris Lieben and now this Dylan Dennis. And they're just basically throwing themselves on the barbecue because it doesn't matter, right? They're just chasing the money. So like, oh yeah, I'll go out there and get my shit kicked in for 6 rounds or whatever and get CTE, and I'm trying to box and I have no fucking hands whatsoever. Or my hands are not nearly what they need to be in a ring with a really rail-trained boxer. Not even Francis Ngannou was gone completely off the fucking rails. He's trying to fight the heavyweight champion of the goddamn world. Most of these guys can't even beat mid to low-level boxers. I'm pretty sure that a legitimate boxer would beat the fuck out of Logan Paul. But because he's not fighting any legitimate boxers, it don't matter, right? So these freak show guys, and I'm talking about this because I'm going to talk about Logan Paul wrestling Rey Mysterio. That's why I'm talking about this. But I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there since we're on the subject. Dylan Dennis is a waste of space. And he got people all amped up like something was going to happen here. And in turn, he turned out to be just another shit-talking lunatic. And he did a good job of selling the fight because he made people want to see him get killed. And then he went out there and literally did nothing for himself. I didn't watch the fight. From what I heard, he didn't do anything the whole fight. And he just collected a paycheck. He embarrassed himself. He embarrassed all of his coaches. And then he, made an ass out of himself by trying to grab a guillotine. And that was kind of it. After the match, Logan Paul challenged Rey Mysterio for the United States title, which was a great look because not only was it an excellent pivot away from this bullshit that Dylan Dennis is doing, but it actually shows how Logan Paul actually gives a fuck about WWE. And I got to give him credit for that because he took time out of what he was doing, what he put together to promote something for WWE, to create a cross promotion. And that's very impressive. So, and I fully expect him to win the United States title too. I fully expect him to win that belt. You would be foolish to not give it to him. What would be the one good reason to not give him the US belt? It's not going to get defended. Who the fuck cares? Who cares if he only defends it like once every quarter? Nobody gives a shit. Yes, it would be better if like there was a singles title that could be defended pretty regularly, but give him the belt and then he has to pop up every 90 days or something to defend it or something like that. But he deserves it. In terms of all the work he's been put in, he's over. People care about him. They hate him. Him beating Rey Mysterio could be big money. I know they started doing this thing with him and Santos Escobar, where Santos Escobar is telling him to get in line or something to that effect, that he's going to be the one that's going to wrestle Rey for the title. You could even do a thing where I've been pushing for this, that Santos Escobar turns on Rey, and perhaps this is the catalyst, where Rey accepts Logan Paul's challenge, and then Santos Escobar is like, Jefe, what about me? And then Rey's like, yeah, I got you. And then he ends up, losing to Logan Paul. And now Santos Escobar is kind of shitty because he should have had the match or whatever. Like, that's something that could be fun for the future. And also, it's really good for the title, because I think Logan Paul is beyond the point of he's a non-wrestler. I think we're past that when it comes to Logan Paul, right? He's had enough good performances. He's taken enough bumps. He's performed enough. He's wrestled Roman Reigns in the main event, and nobody is bitching and complaining about it. We can give him a fucking belt. We can give him the U.S. title. And I think that's the right move to do. And having him beat Rey, as long as Santos Escobar or somebody turns heel on Rey, I think would be solid. And I like that idea. And I don't want to wait till SmackDown to talk about it. So we're going to talk about it right now. All right, so that's Monday Night Raw in a nutshell. The Gunther vignette was very good. Gunther's match was kind of mid, but that was mostly because of Bronson Reed. Ricochet is crazy, great spots, and fun match with Shinsuke Nakamura. Probably my favorite match on the show. None of the girls' matches got over with me. I hated them all. Not a big fan of the Fatal 5-Way idea. The tag team title switching, only good because the storyline element. Not really a big fan of Judgment Day winning again. Certainly not a big fan of Judgment Day still being the centerpiece of Monday Night Raw. Drew McIntyre is doing good stuff on Raw with his slow burn heel turn. Not a big fan of Seth Rollins. His stock is dropping with me pretty much every goddamn week. Rhea Ripley, however, is pretty steady. She's doing a good job. I think they're not doing her any favors by putting her in there with boring people like Shayna Baszler, but they're trying. Okay. They're trying, I guess. Everything else is kind of mid. I can't think of anything that really jumps off the page. I wish we'd have gotten more of like Ludwig Kaiser in terms of his singles vignettes and stuff like that. But that one vignette, I probably watched that joint 500 times. It's a great vignette. But let me know what you guys thought about Raw. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out. Yeet.